Good evening and welcome to the news bulletin. The Seychelles Coast Guard has commissioned a new patrol boat in its fleet called BP Boudeuse. The ceremony for the government and defense forces of India to hand over the first interceptor craft to their Seychelles counterpart took place at the Coast Guard base at Perseverance this morning, and we are going to come back on this item later in the bulletin. President Weval Ramkalawan met with representatives from two international monetary institutions this morning to discuss ways to finance projects aimed at mitigating the effects of climate change. The first delegation was from the IMF.
We were very happy to have then a lot of involvement from the government, from the Ministry of Finance, National Planning and Trade, and the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change, and Agriculture, and excellent discussions which we will take forward now going forward with the government as well as development partners. From the IMF side, we have an IMF-supported program with Seychelles, and Seychelles was one of the first countries to benefit from a new facility that the fund offers to address climate change, the Resilience and Sustainability Facility. And Seychelles benefits from high access funds from this facility, which again supports the country in the climate reforms that they are doing.
The second delegation to meet with the president this morning at State House was from the World Bank. They also took part in the discussions. Both delegations also took part in discussions yesterday aimed at helping Seychelles address climate change. And the representative from the World Bank, that's the World Bank's director for Seychelles, Mrs. Ida Reedy Howe, mentioned that this visit to the president would be her last, as she will soon be taking on a new position.
Basically, what everybody is trying to figure out is how do we put as many instruments as possible on the table to get financing for climate change solutions for Seychelles. Not an easy topic, as you can imagine, that right now it's a space of shrinking financing. So there's a combination of needing new money, but also a part on how you use the financing that's available today in a way that's actually much more efficient. I do think that where we came out was very positive. There was a lot of interest to support preparation of projects that are actually fundable, that can be given to development partners. But there's also an agreement to continue figuring out how to get more data. Because, you know, when you're talking about climate change, it's about, do you have enough information to make the right decisions, and are you using the right solutions for what you're seeing? And that has to be a variety and a menu more than just one single solution.
A new vegetable market at La Retraite was officially opened today. The market is located right next to the fish market, which was opened in 2021. The commemorative plaque was unveiled by the minister responsible for agriculture, Flavien Zoubert, and the MNE for Ancitoile, Georges Roumain. The market can accommodate 6 vendors, and for the time being, they do not need to pay a fee to use the facility, which is at a cost of 800,000 rupees.
This new market fits within our strategy, which is to have a market in each of the agricultural zones. So the farmers, they are producing now, and that the next step is to sell the products. So the market will help the farmers to meet with the community, with the consumers, for the sales of the local agricultural produce. We have the program for the areas also. For example, last year, we opened the market for Ansboalo, and now we are opening the one for La Retraite. And this year we have the program for La Digue, which we have started. And also we have planned for the areas such as Okap and Roskeimer, so that the public can have access to the local produce.
The Department of Tourism is looking at alternative universities to send students of the Tourism Academy who are on the Advanced Diploma Program in Hospitality Management with Shannon College, Ireland. This is especially for students who are doing their 4th year of study, which is their final year. The Department of Tourism and the Tourism Academy organized a meeting with the students and their parents at the school to discuss the direction that the school will take in the future.
It's expensive for what it is. 38,000 euros is the last figure that I have per student for that final year. It's a lot of money. So we've looked around at other similar tourism training institutions that could give us similar courses, similar standard, but for cheaper. And the point I want to make here is that we do not want to compromise on the standard of the courses. So we've looked at that, and we've asked Shannon to make a proposal to us to match or be as close as possible to what we've offered from 4 other institutions, 3 in Malaysia and 1 in Malta, failing which we will be using all 4 institutions that I've just listed, or one of them, or on a rotational basis, use them to send our students to going forward. That's from 2026.
Seychellois youth possess great potential and creativity in the film production. That is a statement by Zurel Odowole, an American film producer who visited President Ramkalawan this morning at State House. Ms. Odowole was accompanied by her sister. She shared her experience working with young Seychellois. Recently, she facilitated a workshop on film production here.
With Mr. President, we were talking about the film workshop. I met with him first in September last year in New York during the United Nations General Assembly. He invited us here to Seychelles. We spent the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, with I think about 50 youth here from Seychelles, going over all the different aspects of filmmaking, editing, lighting, audio, and things like that. And so today was just to meet up after the workshop to talk about the success of it, because the students, they were so amazing. There's so much creativity and innovation here. To be able to see them learn a skill in 2 days and put together their own films to show everybody was truly, truly amazing. So that's mostly what we talked about, and also things that we can do moving forward to keep working with the youth here in Seychelles. There's always room for improvement for everything and for anyone, including myself, even as a filmmaker. But here, I would say personally, I think there is such a high level of filmmaking. I think once to be able to teach youth, again, to pick up a skill within a day or two and be able to actually put together a project, it means that there's like so much potential here. Like I said, so much creativity, so much innovation. So I think filmmaking has a very important role to play because it's also giving youth the responsibility to tell stories, whether it's their own stories or their community stories, but to tell those stories in a way where when the whole world looks at it, they're like, wow, so that's what Seychelles is about. It's important to understand that each of us has a voice. What we choose to do with that voice is our gift to the world. And when it comes to using your voice and thinking of ways to use it, it's important to dream. It's important to have dreams. All this started, like I started when I was 9 years old. I'm 22 now, so that's 13 years ago almost, right? It started with a dream. It doesn't cost anything to dream, you know, just to sit here and say, I dream this, I dream that. You don't have to swipe a credit card, right? You don't have to write a check. It's free to dream. So dream big dreams, dream scary dreams that not only will have an impact on your life and your family's life, but also your community, your country, and the whole world.
And like I mentioned earlier, the Seychelles Coast Guard has commissioned a new patrol boat in its fleet called BP Boudeuse. Apologies, we cannot bring the picture version of the news item, but the ceremony for the government and Defence Forces of India to hand over the fast interceptor craft to their Seychelles counterpart took place at the Coast Guard base at Perseverance this morning. The Indian High Commissioner Kartik Pandey and the Chief of Defence Forces of Seychelles, Major General Michael Rosette, signed the handing over of the transfer certificate. The ceremony took place in the presence of the Commander-in-Chief of the Seychelles Defence Forces, President Ramkalawan, amongst other inviters from both sides. And with this, we end this news bulletin. Thank you for your attention.